Hey, Miss Murphy. Uncle, welcome. I am interviewing Forerunner tonight. Is he here? There he is. Hey, welcome. Can you hear me now?
I hear you fine.
Hello. I
Hi, how you
said,
doing?
good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Good deal. I'm so excited about tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I've been outside my neighbors. Suddenly, I go outside and they're barbecuing. I haven't had barbecue in forever. Like the snow's gone, so we're just. I made some macaroni and cheese, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just throwing it together. But I thought he's the one to throw it together with. So,
Oh, wow. Great. Yeah, I got mac and cheese I made last night in the fridge, so
dude, I do that. I make a box and then I eat it all week. I don't
yeah, I
tuna
do
or
too.
chicken. Yep.
I like that Kraft with the sauce in it.
Yeah.
And then of course I make my own too if I've got, with some cheddar and stuff sometimes. So.
Yeah, you take that Kraft and put some cheddar. That's what I did tonight. I put some jalapeno, that pepper jack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there it was. It was like gourmet.
Yeah, I cook a lot. I love to cook.
Do you? What's your favorite?
Oh, I don't know. I do a thing called Bill's Chinese that people seem to like a lot. Which is just a rice dish with chicken in it. I do that, and I do a pretty good lasagna. I like roast chicken real well, mashed
Oh,
potatoes and roast chicken, and I do a pretty good Salisbury steak, and I like bangers and mash too.
what's that?
That's an English dish. It's mashed potato and a sausage.
Okay.
They
I
call
would
it
love
bangers
that.
and mash.
I would love that. I
It's
love mashed
Irish.
potatoes and everything. Okay, I'm Irish too. Right
Yeah.
on. I love lasagna. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I like lasagna. I don't know. The older I get, the more things I like.
There you go.
I was always a skinny little kid. I was the kid in school that when we had to take off our t-shirts, there'd be shirts and skins to play basketball. I always would pray that I had a shirt on because all my bones stuck out. I was a skinny little kid. When I was 18, I went in the Navy. I was 128 pounds.
Oh wow. How
Uh,
tall?
when I when I went in the Navy,
How
and
tall?
huh,
How tall?
5'11" and a half.
Oh, that's skinny.
So yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Oh.
the skinny beanie, yeah,
My
yeah,
grandpa was 6'2" and 132 pounds.
yeah, yeah.
So
When
he,
I got out, when I retired, I weighed under 160 when I retired. So and then from there, I've blossomed.
you're right. It happens to us, don't it?
Yeah, it happens to a lot of guys when they get older, and women too.
Yeah,
They
you're
just
right.
sort of blossom.
Yeah, for sure. Well, oh my gosh. So there's so much. I wanted to talk to you about fishing, of course, because I love to fish.
Oh, you like to fish?
I love to
I'm
fish.
going tomorrow morning.
Okay, so okay, so here we go. So my son just got a boat. He sold his other boat to my other son, and my other son gave me his boat.
Oh, so you got a boat?
But I haven't been out in it yet.
Does it have a motor on it?
Not mine's not gonna have a motor.
Oh, okay. It's a little boat then.
Yeah, I call it the Krabby Minnow.
Ah,
It's gonna just have paddles.
okay. Yeah, there's
So
nothing wrong with that.
nope. I live near Lake Michigan.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah, so they said I talked to a man yesterday. I said I've been wondering why God hasn't allowed me to put that little boat in the lake, and he said I got a pontoon. But I was like, "You love the lake?" He goes, "I don't put that in the lake." He said it's too rough. I said it was like a light bulb. I was like, God did not let me put that little 14-foot flat in Lake Michigan because I would probably wouldn't have came. I probably would have been soaring through with the waves coming through. So I got that message yesterday.
Did you?
So
You're
I
not in
thought,
the, you're not in the Yooper, are you?
I don't think that it's technically that, but I'm in Sheboygan, which is 3 hours north of Chicago.
Oh, what a nice name, isn't it? Sheboygan.
It's Sheboygan.
Isn't there something like a Sheboygan, New Jersey?
I don't know, but
Also,
there's a Sheboygan, Michigan.
yeah. Well, yeah, obviously, but yeah,
Well, one of them has Sheboygan, where I live, is an S.
yeah.
Sheboygan, Michigan is a C.
Oh,
So
you're not in Michigan?
no, I'm in Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
But if you fold the Great Lake over, it turns into Sheboygan and Sheboygan. Like on if you fold the maps over, it
Yeah.
turns into that. I don't know what this is telling me to do, but I'm not doing it. But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna find a smaller lake to fish because in Louisiana, my mom was a river fisher,
Uh huh.
and it was just boring to sit on the bank to me. And my dad ran trout lines, and I loved it.
Did you?
Yes.
It's always a surprise.
What the trout? I know, because you never know what you're gonna
Exactly.
get.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you do trout lines?
Do I do what?
Trout lines.
No, no, I never have. I'm a caster. I do saltwater and freshwater both.
That's
Tomorrow,
what.
the water's been high here. We've had a lot of floods. So tomorrow, I'm taking one of my grandsons. We're taking a little canoe, like a canoe, and we're gonna fish the creek. A lot of little smallmouth in there, red eye. They call them rock bass here and bluegill, stuff like that. But we get some nice smallies, probably 14, 15 inches smallmouth in the creek. So
But
it's fun.
that sounds like good eating though. Good. That
Yeah,
sounds
the
like
smallies are good
good.
because it's a small creek and they're fresh. So
So where are you then?
I'm in Kentucky, southern Kentucky.
Oh, you got good fishing. That's the whole point of this whole thing. Okay, so in Louisiana, when I first went, I had those two experiences with fishing, and I thought I'm not a fisher person if it's not that. So then I go out in saltwater, and dude, it changed my life. I literally brought a pillow and a blanket because I was gonna just sleep in the boat. Like I'm just like I
You, yeah.
what
Go ahead. You're sleeping in the boat.
I
Yeah.
was gonna. We chartered a boat, and I got so seasick, and I thought I'll never do this again. But then, when we went to out in this boat, I, I literally I caught the biggest. They were oh shit, it's gonna escape me the name. It'll come to me. Redfish,
Yeah, redfish. Oh my
big
God.
old redfish,
Got a spot on their tail.
27 pounds, three of them I caught.
Oh wow.
Put my pillow and blanket in the boat, so I got bit. Then I was like, I love fishing now. So when you were like, you love fishing, I'm like, I want to hear stories. Okay, so
Yeah.
and then the other one is then I go to Belize. And
Ah.
I'm like, I want to fish. I couldn't wait to fish. I'm looking for a reel, a rod and a reel, and they don't use it. They laughed at me. They made fun of me. They mocked me. They use a hand line, dude. They just have the rope, just the string.
Oh wow. Just hand line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went out. We took a little, like you said, a little canoe boat, whatever you call that little. There's two things about that. The little pirogue or whatever. We soared out to a little stick, tied off, and there was three hooks on my hand line. So I was throwing it in and catching a snapper, a little yellow snapper, in the Caribbean,
Hmm.
The one caught, then the next one caught, then the next one, wham! Dude, I finally got it in. It was a barracuda
Oh my goodness.
on a hand line, as wide as my shoulders. So when I was walking on the thing, I was holding it. Like one hand here. I got pictures. I wasn't exaggerating. You know how fishers exaggerate. I'm like, I'm not exaggerating. But look, he cooked she, it was a girl because she was pregnant. Because when we got the open and all the egg sac done, it bit. The first snapper was safe on the other hook. The second snapper had a bite out of it, and that third hook caught that barracuda in the eye like an eye
Oh my
ring.
goodness.
That's how it was caught. And that's my fishing story. So I'm like, I want to hear your fishing stories. I
Well,
know you got one.
I fished down in Puerto Rico
Oh yeah.
for barracuda. Roosevelt Road's a Navy base down there. When I was in the Navy, I had some buddies there, and we went out fishing. And you catch these school barracuda. Oh, they're like 12, 14, 16 inches long in the bays and the inlets, and you cast to them like a spinner, and flash, like something, even a daredevil, something like that. and and you see just a shadow come out of the like out of nowhere, and they grab it. That was a lot of fun doing that. I want to go to Louisiana and do some fishing there. I love redfish. I'm a surface plugger, so I use surface plugs. And when a big redfish hits a surface plug, it's like an explosion. I mean, they're so aggressive, and they make that first initial run, a real heavy run on you, and then they sort of slack off and come in. But I love redfish.
I agree. That was
Speckled
a tough
trout
one.
too.
Yeah, so I never caught trout.
No, uh-huh.
And that's big in Kentucky?
Well, speckled trout down in with redfish, usually speckled trout run with them. But yeah, there's a river here called the Cumberland River, which is a trophy trout stream. It comes out of Lake Cumberland, and the water is about 50 degrees for the first 100 miles or so. And trout love cold water. That's why they're in Colorado and places like that, New England. They're really a cold water fish. So this water coming out of the bottom of the dam there is like 50 degrees. So it's a trophy river. And there's about 40 miles of it I've been fishing for about 40 years, I guess.
Right on.
From the dam. It's part of the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Association. They built all these dams and things for flood control back in the 30s when Roosevelt came in and got started getting us out of the depression. They built a TVA, which is a number of lakes here in Kentucky, and they were built for flood control. They let them down in the winter. They call it winter pool. It's down real low, and you got it looks like a little river, and then when the spring rains come, it fills the lakes up rather than flood the towns.
Yeah,
So and that's Lake Cumberland, Green River Lakes, Nolan Lake. They're all around me. So,
dude, I got to pass through Kentucky to go to Louisiana when I
you
go.
go down there?
I do. I try to go. I try to go once a year for a couple months, or twice a year for a shorter stay. And this year it's going to be twice. So I'll have to see what your route is going through there.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
brings me to another topic. So I heard from a little bird that another branch about the bird I want to talk to you about too is that you're looking into doing like a Woodstock type thing at your place or something.
Well, no, not at my place, but it seems to me that there's such a large awakening community. It seems, maybe because of the communications, we're finding that. And I think something to, the old musical Woodstock, they're talking about that now, and that was like 40, 50 years ago. So just imagine if you could get 1,000 spiritual people together and making worldwide news. The spiritual people are all everywhere around the world and everywhere, but you need something, a great gathering would be, I think, a wonderful, wonderful thing to have with music and few guys shooting the bull on stage and music. And, I don't know now, back then, now I run with the hippies for a few years, and, we just all 100, 150 of us would sometimes on a weekend go, and we just all camp out. We just all build a big fire and we sleep in the grass and sleep on blankets and pillows and just stay out there.
That's the way to go, though. I'm thinking like, where could we go? So I thought it was your place, but I was ready to go. So we have a Kohler Park here, and it's like $20 or 15 for a tent. We could book it here
I don't
in
know.
September. I mean, I don't know how many thousands that we could get.
It would be nice. It would be nice though to have the what I would call the new age spiritual community to get together and just meet each other and let people know that there is something happening. We know here on TikTok and some other media places, there seems to be an awakening going on, a change in our perception of looking at things, sort of. So.
I agree. Do you think that we're ahead of ourselves though? Because do you feel that there's a big shift happening right now that I know that I feel? and people have dreamt about it, talked about it, said about it, but in what we're dealing with now, you feel a divide, a sifting of sorts happening right now.
Well, we're coming into an information age. There's so much understanding and things going on in theory, but I think science and religion are starting to come together. And we're starting to understand vibration. We're starting to understand energy, and we're starting to understand more about the complexness and things that happen within inside us. And I think that's a learning thing that's come about, and so much of it because of the media aspects. When I grew up in the '40s, and I was born before World War II, and uh, you had your little group of people, and that was it. And we didn't talk about a lot of things. And in 85 years, I've seen the world progress through a lot of different changes. Um, through wars, and of course, I was in war myself. I was a combat veteran, but I was in war, and seeing so many different things change. And this just in the last year for me, it's been a good experience for me, because just to find people that are actually open minded, and that's what we're talking about. We have to open our minds, and um, that seems to be occurring.
I agree with you. What's your favorite scripture?
My what?
Your favorite scripture?
Sermon from the Mount: the pure in heart shall see God.
Ooh.
And I think that's the goal of life, to become more pure in heart. And the other one is, you reap what you sow. I don't know if it says that in there, but
Oh, it
uh,
says, do not don't be this is my paraphrase. Do not be a fool. God will not be mocked. You will reap what you sow. Because I rode that donkey for a while. Like, it wasn't intentional though, in hindsight, but I really was surviving a lot of stuff. And so coming out to the other side of it, there were times when I was in it and I'm like, I remember how the feeling about how Paul was like, my flesh is weak and my spirit is willing, but I knew that I had so much trauma and I was acting on that at times. And so getting free of the outer dynamics to allow myself to come into a healing stance, I had that to go backwards through and repent for that,
yeah,
for doing the wrong thing when I knew the right thing, and telling everybody God can forgive you for anything. And what God has shown me is I was planting seeds to people who needed to hear that at the time, that they may have been going through something, that they needed to know that God can forgive them for anything, because I
yeah,
truly knew that and I believed that. But living that is another, like, in your flesh, it's
yeah,
another thing.
yeah, yeah. It's a lifelong. I call it a lifelong struggle, uh, because there's always more. Uh, I get to a point where I'm trying to live in the now and all this stuff, and then uh, reflect on something and realize, man, I've been working lately on what I guess it's called compassion. Uh, because I really truly believe you reap what you sow. So I believed it so intently that a lot of times people would come around with their problems. I'm thinking, yeah, reaping what the hell you're sowing. You're being a jerk. You're doing this. You're pissed off at everybody. You're doing all this crap, and then you're complaining because of everything. And you're reaping what you sow, buddy. Wake up. And I became a little hardened with that reap what you sow. And so I'm working on a compassion right now
Dude,
to
that
be.
I agree with you. That is totally like the backwards. Like, once you get that, you're in the pivot. So that's exactly how I had to survive it. And I hear people talk about that in the community, be in that type of way. And it is necessary at this point in time to kind of shake and wake people up. But what I learned on the other side of that, what you're talking about, is that God is love.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
And it's so much better to learn the lessons tender and softly and
Hmm.
lovingly. But we do that, I speak for myself, out of survival, because we don't know how to help somebody else. We want to help them, and
Yeah.
we're just so limited, and surrender it to God. And I feel like when we say it in that way, because I'm working on compassion too, even more so, is that we're surrendering our thought process to God for them and God to work it out between the two of them because we're powerless, so we
Mhm.
feel. What
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Yeah, you get down to the bottom line. It's each individual has to find what needs to awaken them in a way. And sometimes we say things. Sometimes it makes people think, and that's all we can do. Maybe is make them think a little bit. Uh, we can't. In the bottom line, I found that out after many years of whining and crying and being knocked around by the spirit. That I have to work. The bottom line is eventually I must face myself in truth, and each of us must. So the bottom line is if I end up not doing anything with my life or not helping people, what I have to do is become better within myself. That's the goal for me, is to become that scripture, pure in heart shall see God. And so everything I was taught was based on become more pure in heart. Let's become better. Let's love more. Let's care. And I've always said love is the glue of life, and it's the glue of so many things. It's the glue in relationships. It's the glue in our spiritualness. It's the glue that the divine touches us with. Is that deep seated love and caring and compassion that we sometimes feel within. So
I love it, and I totally agree with you. Love is the only thing that worked to get me through this.
it gets you going, but then sometimes it's number one, we can't even put a definition on love, because it's just that a feeling. And it's something I think we're more feelings than within our soul, more so than we are thoughts. We go through things in life and we feel love, we feel anger, we feel hatred, we feel self righteousness. All those feelings that we have are more of what we are than maybe even the thoughts that we have internally. We have. Uh, I think it's hard sometimes to examine our inner thoughts, the thoughts that we truly think, not things we say or not things we do or not things that we learn and all this stuff. But when we're thinking, when we're meeting other people, we're saying, this guy's an asshole. And we're really uh, sometimes negative within ourselves, positive outwardly, and oh, I love everybody and all this stuff. But inwardly, so many of us are self righteous and judgmental and bigoted. And it's hard to escape that.
That's that pure heart.
Well,
Well,
it's working towards it.
that's exactly what I know.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I know because I always thought that too until I had to pivot. And then I realized, oh my God, my heart was shitty, dude. My heart was shitty. And I would have to narrow down whose voice is who inside of me with those inner thoughts. And I've had to capture every one and say, okay, this is my mom. This is how she was. I can hear her say it and then love that part and forgive her for that part. And then hear another thought that come up and think I had to decide what was mine. And then when I came to the realization of some of the thoughts that were mine as a result of the judgment that I had from the thoughts that other people from my mirroring, that's when I had to really work on my repentance and my, really going into that because my inner thoughts were tainted.
Yeah. 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 In a direction that was against what you wanted them to be in a way. When you find yourself, it's for me, it's a constant struggle. It's just, I always talk about Barney Fife, from nip it in the bud. And when you start getting angry or judging, just stop it. Just nip it right there. Take control of your thought and head in the direction that you should be. Of course, we have the inner influence too. Uh, uh, I call it divine because there's so many words that people use, the self and Allah and Christ and all the different things uh, to explain. And it truly, maybe just the self itself it's not God, but it is within the essence of consciousness. We're all like drops in that ocean. I know that's a silly thing to say, but it's like the consciousness and spirit is the ocean, and we're all drops within that ocean, and make it full. It's like God is not in us, or the spirit or the divine is not in us. We're within it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you said that I want to kind of expand on. One of them is all of those feelings. That's what makes us human.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Exactly. Yeah. It takes away from just the instincts, and we do have a lot of instincts. Uh, we have body instincts because we're not this body, but yet we are in it, and it has its humanness, its earthliness about it. We're here to procreate. I mean, that's the reason the body is here, to procreate itself. We exist in it, but it's everything else. Everything that lives on the face of this earth is to procreate. All physical thing, and everything lives by consuming life. From the worm uh, to the gigantic side. I was reading something the other day. Over half the life, including all the trees and bushes, everything, jungle, everything. Over half the life is in the earth.
mm,
There's like in a gallon of dirt, there's like a million species in there. It's crazy.
I
But
I
we
think
do have this within us. We do have this ability to know right from wrong, and I think intrinsically within us, we all know what's right and wrong.
it got skewed for me though. It was like no matter if it was right or wrong, sometimes there was no way out, and I had to make really tough choices. And to own the only thing that okay, so another layer of deep, getting down to grace, to understanding what grace is, because there were things that the A and B did not connect in situations, and it was just that total gray area, but it really happened, but I wasn't aware of living in the now moment then.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize I was living a timeline, because there's certain things about what all of the community inputs from everybody that I watch and listen to that I know resonates for real for me, from the creator, the God of Abraham, that type. Okay. And there's some that don't resonate like that for me. But one of the things that did resonate like that for me was I wasn't living in my now moment like I am now, to bring all of what they're considering timelines together as one. So when I was living peace started out, I would have a reality of one line of things happening, and then I would have to cover and reach to the other side, but I didn't realize I was fragmented, which is what most humans have experienced because not having proper mirroring. So not being born in a perfect world, basically, imperfect parents, imperfect. So getting to this point of reality now, that's why I'm so confident with the shift, because 8 years ago, I call it like I was in the service, dude. I'm not kidding you. My son's in the Air Force, okay? So I know a little bit about the lingo, and I know you do because you was in the Navy. But when you sign on and you get that call, you got the call. And that's how it felt. But then I told myself, did I just let go of everything? Because I struggled with this. Like, God gave his son, his only begotten son. Okay, how this goes, this.
Excuse
And
me.
I was angry about that. And I thought, how could my heavenly father do that to his child and I'm his child? And then I had this life as a child. I struggled with that. And
Mm.
I never had that as an issue as a child. I blind faith myself all the way through until the bullet met the bone. The rubber met the road, dude. And that was
Mhm.
when it got into the flesh, when what I had in my mind, what I had in my heart had to be realized in my flesh. in order for me to become whole as a human being, if I truly believe in what the Messiah came here for, which is life and
Mm.
life more abundantly on planet Earth, where we were created to be. And I know that there's different branches of, I'm not going to say walk ins because I know that's another branch, but like creation. There's different branches of creation that are all on board with what's happening for humanity. But what I came through and realized after all of it is I'm human. I'm not a Palladian. I'm not a Syrian. I'm not none of it. I'm a human being here for
For
humanity.
now, yeah, for what's before you.
Yeah, in my now moment. But guess what? I want my now moment to go to eternity with my children. I want to have children for eternity. I want grandchildren for eternity. And it's difficult for the human mind to fathom. So, I used to have some favorite scriptures, but now we have no concept of what's in store for those who love God. So that's what I tell myself now, because gratitude increases dopamine. And when you're stripped down to the burning bare, like you understand what hell is, you think you're in purgatory, but you bounce back and forth to hell. Not that I ever believed in purgatory until this. I come to realize love was the only thing that worked, dude. And that's why I'm so adamant about God being love, because it wasn't religion. And it most of the time wasn't people. Even my children that love me dearly, I couldn't appreciate their love because I was so broken on the inside. And that's what humanity's dealing with and coming out of. So, yeah.
Well, sometimes we're just self-centered.
Yeah. That was exactly what it was. When nobody takes care of you as a child and you have to take care of yourself, I found that's the hardest thing to break, because no matter how you slice it and dice it, it always looked selfish.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
trauma.
Trauma. Yeah. So, which
Yeah.
brings me to birds, dude. Okay, so birds. This is another way I saw birds, and I watched one of your videos about the birds. This really actually happened. Okay, every time I go to Louisiana, there's 3 or 4 birds, usually three, that follow me. I won't see them for a little while. Sometimes I'll see them while I drive, then I like outrun them, and then they'll show up. So I started talking to them the last couple of trips down and realizing these birds really follow me. They come up here too. I have plenty of encounters with birds. But
Mm.
since I watched your thing about birds, there's a bird that flew up on the back window of my house, and I heard something, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I didn't know what it was. I went back there and I saw that bird, and immediately I went to your thought about the hummingbird.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So
Uh,
so tell me about the birds. I know you were going to put a feeder out there, you
oh
said.
yeah. I've always loved birds. When I was a kid, I used to go. Well, there was a lot more birds then. Really. And when I was a kid fishing in the 50s, there was a little stream behind my house, and I used to get down there and sit and watch birds. And I've always loved birds, and I have a lot of them. Matter of fact, I had one fly in my game room today when I had the door open. It was a flycatcher, I think a small flycatcher. But yeah, I've always loved birds, and I've had 3 blue jay pets that were each one had a completely different personality, like people or children. I swear that completely different. I had one that was, we call him JJ. He was a nice little guy. I had my children then, and he would sit on the table and eat Cheerios with them for before breakfast. He liked pizza and stuff like that. But then he got rowdy. He would take and steal things and hide them in the house, and then he started pooping over everything. And the problem is when you domesticate a wild bird, you have to keep them somewhere because you can't let him out. I let him out finally, and the other birds, of course, attacked him because he's a blue jay. They hate blue jays because blue jays are egg eaters. So they attacked him, and he would hang on the screen trying to get back
Oh
in,
my gosh.
and other birds would attack him. And then I had my son climb up in the top of a big cedar tree and throw me a crow out one time. So I had me a pet crow for one year, and Jesus, they're a smart bird.
Yeah, really.
Little kid down the road come down and chased him with a stick one time, and every time any of his family would come, the bird would attack him.
Oh
The
my
crow would attack
god.
him, and he would say hello. I taught him to say hello, and Boy, my goodness, a crow. You've seen a crow. Everyone's seen crows. But when you get one sitting on your table, they're a they're a big bird.
Are they?
Oh my goodness, they're just really a good sized bird.
Okay.
And when light hits them, my goodness, the oh, they're so
Blue,
beautiful.
green, like that
Oh, they
iridescent
have
stuff. Yeah.
they have that cyan. Uh,
Oh.
they're just a beautiful bird. And this crow only liked me, but he used to mess around with cats, and I think that's what it was his demise eventually.
Shit. He was trying to get his 9 lives on.
Yeah, he did them in pretty quick. But yeah, I've always liked birds. Well, I like animals. I was raised in the country, and I trapped, and I fished, and I hunted with my dad, and I spent a lot of time in the woods. I made maple syrup and tapped trees, maple trees. I trapped muskrat, and I did taxidermy. So I was, raised in the country,
Wow.
and that's when I got out of the Navy after 20 years of travel in the Navy. I wanted to move back into the country. And one of the main reasons I wanted to move back into the country so that my dog could run,
Yeah, you're right.
that my dog was free.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a big one, dude. I'm praying for
oh,
everybody's dogs to be able to run.
oh,
It's
mine's an outside dog. She's a beautiful
yes.
dog, and she don't like coming in. I'm a visitor here. She owns this place.
Yeah, you're
I've
right.
got about 25 acres here on a ridge, so and it's her 25 acres.
Yeah, you're right. 25 acres. She can just go be as free as she wants to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, she stays right here. She's never left the property ever.
Oh my gosh, that's
Never.
great. Is that where you're from originally? Is Kentucky?
No, no, I was born in Connecticut.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Had to hike.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Connecticut and went in the Navy there. I still have a lot of family there. And I left there when I was 18, went in the Navy. And when I retired, I had my spiritual experience for me in 1975. And I retired in 1978. And I wanted to go back into the hills to reflect, to write, to place my mind on God and spend my life that way. And so I moved back way back in the hills of Kentucky and brought my family here. I had 4 children at the time, and we moved back here. And out of the last 40 some years, I've only worked 6.
Oh wow.
So, but I don't have a lot of wants. I got my Navy retirement. That helped. And I just sort of enjoyed the life that was brought to me. I mean,
You're blessed.
and now I'm at my most joyful times the last year or two.
Well, what about Connecticut? That's beautiful, huh? What's the comparison in Connecticut and Kentucky?
Well, when I moved here in 1978, it was like I had grown up in the 50s. Small town. Some of the places when I moved here in 1978 still didn't have electricity, and so it was the burning wood, and it was more like when I grew up as a child, and so we're happy to bring the children up in this type of small community because and it is a small community, so everyone knows who you are. They were awful damn leery of me.
I feel that one. I love it. You're
I,
wild, man.
yeah, I moved in. They'd look at you and say,
Who are you?
"Who are you?" You know, who's your daddy? I'd say,
That's
"Hey,
so funny.
where are you from?" So I did work a year or two in real estate when I got here. About that's a couple of the years I worked in real estate, and so I got to know a lot of people in town. Then, of course, 4 children going to school. So now I've been here 47 years. So it's become home. I'm
Yeah.
going to Connecticut this year. I'm having my 85th birthday up in New England. I've got 4 grandchildren up there, and 3 or 4 great grandchildren, I guess, up there, and cousins and nephews and nieces and all that stuff. I think I have 14 grandchildren. I have like 12 great grandchildren now.
That's so, I love them. I have 6 and I love them so much.
Yeah, I love them as long as they don't
As long
come
as they go
home with
home. That's how I feel about these dogs. I got my daughter's dogs, dude. I'm just like, she'll be back. She keeps extending her stay. I called her today. I swear she goes, Mom, I don't want to. She legit is having heart tests done. Okay. It's so
Yeah.
complicated. And she goes, I don't want to argue about this. I said, you don't want to argue about this. I have two dogs. I need somebody to listen to me. So we got past it, but oh yeah, but I love them so much. They're spoiled, dude. They're spoiled.
Yeah, I the great grandkids, they don't even know who I am, and I love them the best because they by the time they get to me, they already got the money.
For real, huh?
Well, yeah, they got mom and dad, then they got grandparents, and then me.
They
Who's
just
the
go
old guy?
fishing.
In the corner.
They can just go fishing. That's cool.
Yeah, well, we've been. I've got some on the East Coast, some on the West Coast, and I'm in the Central Coast. So I don't see a lot of them. Was with a few of them, but most of them I don't see too often. So I wasn't really a good dad, I don't think. Anyway, so
You what?
I wasn't a real good dad, I don't think.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I wasn't a good dad.
Like, talk to me about
Well,
that.
I was a military man. I was
Right.
military,
Okay. All right.
20 years military, and so I was hardcore and.
Yeah.
And I raised the children to be tough, to be strong, instead of instilling goals in them. There's other things I think I should have done better, and I just didn't. There's no book on that, and uh, we all just all of a sudden we get kids and we don't know what to do with them in a way. No matter what people tell you, there's all kinds of situations that come up where we have to make choices, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And I grew up in an era of spare the rod, spoil the child.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying right or wrong, but I mean,
But
that's
what,
just the way
have
things
y'all had a conversation about it? Like, what did they say?
are.
Dad, you did fine.
I
Dad,
say, yeah, you're okay, Dad.
yeah, that's what mine tell me because I had to be tough too. I had boys and I raised them single, and I was tough. And they talk to me like still like I have a shirt that says "Best Dad," although I bought it for my son. He was mad at me. He left it for me. I still wear that shirt
Yeah,
because they used to tell me Happy Father's Day because I had to be hard on them. But then
yeah.
when you work away, because my son's in the service. I told you that, and he was gone for a month and a half or so, and he's got a 2-year-old. So I didn't know what that was like until now. But I don't think that makes you a bad daddy.
No, yeah, I hear you.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you just do the best you can. I mean, that's all we all do.
Yes.
And yeah, I had four, and they were all completely different.
Oh, they are.
So any way you raise them, it doesn't seem. You got some that are they're just different. They're different souls. Edgar Casey, are you familiar with Edgar Casey?
No.
He's called a sleeping prophet. He wrote a lot back in the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 30s, and he has a big research center in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He did medical psychic kind of things. And then he went into trance-like state, and he went to the place like the Akaic Records, or he called it something else. But and he went in and got all this insight. He was a Christian man. He didn't understand it and didn't really believe. It was hard for him to believe because it encompassed all.
Mm.
And Edgar said that we are transmigrating souls, meaning that we are souls that transmigrate or change, and that we choose this to come into this earth to serve. We come into this earth to learn, to progress, because we have free will and we can choose. And so we choose our parents and we choose our things. And what happened in his readings, it was something about someone carrying problems with them before this birth. And that's what blew his mind, that someone had problems when they were born into the earth. It changed his Christian concepts, at least in 1920s. So it was hard for him to deal with what was going on. But they have a big research center in Virginia Beach, Virginia, That's called the area for research and enlightenment, I believe it is. But he was an interesting man. He was from Kentucky, as a matter of fact.
He's believable though,
Oh,
because
he wrote some beautiful. He was it was like Seth. Are you familiar with Seth?
Seth in the Bible.
No,
Oh. Like, there's two, aren't there?
that's in the communication. There's a there was a thing that someone was getting messages from beyond, and it was from Seth, Feth, and they wrote about it. And there was a time when there was really mystical reading at that time. You know, it's like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, or let's say Thomas Aquinas, or along Swedenborg, Blavatsky. Some of those. So anyway,
Oh, that's a lot. But the dude's believable because he went through it. See what you when you said that, what he said, it resonated with me. That's
yeah, a
that's
lot
how I
of
know
things
it's
he says
true.
resonate.
That's how I know it's true because you hear some things and you're like, if I evolve to the point where I actually experience that, then I'll believe it.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. What you just said about that guy and that realization that he had, that is about the DNA and generational, what's known as blessings or curses, when they come
Mhm.
in from what your DNA experiences from generations back to generations forward.
Mm.
So
Do you think maybe could it be that the DNA, besides the other aspects, is just the physical aspect of us? Do you understand what I mean?
I do, but it doesn't matter for a human being when they're hearing in their mother's womb what their generational lineage planted as seeds, because that's what a child mirrors and knows.
Hmm.
So, as a human, when you're born, that's the psychology of it. That's when they study it, that's what they found out. But every branch points back to the realization that that's why some people do better because their family did better in their seed planting from the time they were born. They didn't have trauma in their physiological because and I say shout out to rats asses because I say I don't give a rat's ass. But I do when I learned that rats gave a lot of asses for the studies that they've done to help us understand this.
Well,
Generations back, they did these tests on rats, many different kinds of tests, and how they're affected for generations down. So it's the same principle for human in the physiological sense of existing. And when I was blessed to learn this empirically, I was stripped down from everything internally, dude. I'm talking what I lived through is unbelievable, off the charts. And the things that I know that humanity needs to heal from this are the things I know I'm to bring forward. So the people who need to hear it and use it, because there are people that I know need to hear it and they don't even want to hear it until they see it, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to help myself." But that's not from me. That's from what God brought me out of, because I wouldn't have existed. I would have been gone if it wasn't for the faith and the belief in the things that are it takes to heal, like the frequencies, like sound frequency. So
mhm.
they talked that when Tesla and Einstein touched on that, that's what they meant. Now we're getting the realization of how it actually works in the physical body. So when what you said about what this whole thing is conversating about right this second is that when we get to the point, like I always raised my kids with the knowing of the creator, because I knew that the only thing that mattered to me was knowing who I was and that I was connected to a creator, because the rest of it was crazy. And so that's what I did with them, is gave them a sense of their self so they would find the creator in themselves and get through anything that this world had to do. That did not mean they weren't born into the stuff. So their physiological sense still had the trauma from it being in my belly, what they heard, the father, domestic violence, all of that. They were able to overcome now as they got older and had the conscious awareness and choice because of what they seen me heal from, how I told them to tap in, and most importantly, because they had a sense of self with their creator. So that's the pivot. So we all were born with something messed up, but we have the choice to become conscious of it. That's what this conscious awareness is about. People
And
reaching out.
rectify it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. They putting all them nasty books in schools and all that shit, And those children, some of them, schools have been one of the biggest things for children when they go to school. It's been a bittersweet. Some go to school and they can get a meal. They don't get a meal at home. Some go to school to get away from violence. And then some of them go to school and get told they need to change their gender at 5 years old. You know? So this split and the divide that's happening on planet Earth, that's what we are standing in energetically for. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. You said this in the beginning of this talk. So this is what we know as right or wrong that we have to cultivate within ourselves, as you've been saying throughout this entire talk, to stand firm in what the Creator says for humanity, for a human being. All of what Jesus did was for humans. All the rest of creation is on board with that. This is the last go.
What do you think about meditation?
I love it. I live in it.
Yeah. It brings you to that same place that Christ consciousness does. It brings you to that connection to self. You talked about Jesus a lot. I had a hard time with Jesus for a while when I first had my experience, and I got a little of experiences and understood that I had in some form always been alive. I understood. Wow, Jesus knew. He knew that he wasn't dying. He knew. He didn't have faith, but he knew. And then I knew at that time. And so when I thought about Christ, I had a great continuation of inner experiences, let's just say. And then I got me a Bible the next day, and I never had a Bible. I'm an old sailor boy. And I got me a Bible, and when I opened it, it was alive. I mean, it was alive. I mean, I'm talking on my knees crying alive. But so was Ramakrishna.
Yeah.
So was Vivekananda. So was Confucius. So were all these other things. And so when I went around, of course, this is back in 1970, and I'm going around and I'd start to talk to people in church or talk to people. And of course, first thing they say that the devil's got you because, the devil's got you. Are you washed in the blood? You know what I'm saying?
I know. I know.
And I understand it. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with those beliefs. Sometimes spiritual people in this new age thing sort of look down on religion in churches. It's brought a lot of people to awareness, for sure. And there's some wonderful, wonderful people living within these communities. And that's what it's about. It's about becoming a good person. It's about becoming better. You can shovel shit all your life and all this stuff and do all this crap. It's about becoming a better person. That's what we can do as individuals. Become better, become more pure in heart. That was always the guide for me. Try, and you don't become pure in heart. You just try to become pure in heart. And your life gets better. You remove some of those things from you. But anyway, on Jesus, and then people say, well, if you don't think like me, you're going to hell. You're going to hell if you don't. And I had a hard time with that because here I had something within me that was touching myself, not touching myself, but
I know.
but touching the self within, and so I had a hard time. What is my And then finally, I found out. I'm going to just do something for you that where I understood my relationship with Jesus, my relationship with Him, and I'm gonna mention that to you if that's all right.
Oh yeah.
It's because it gave me a lot of understanding for me. No, nobody else. Doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. Just understanding for me. But this is from the New Testament, Red Letter Edition. Father, 382 verses. Spirit, 287 verses. Son of Man, 85 verses. Son of God, 46 verses. Your Father, 31 verses. Our Father, 85 verses. My Father, 64 verses. Brother, 100 verses. Light, 100 verses. And I said, my God, he's our brother. He's our brother. Anointed by God. Finding that inner awakening. He went in the desert and had that painful introspection that we have when that spirit moves in us. We have to look at ourselves, and it's painful introspection. So to me, he became maybe the first begotten from the dead, they say. We're the dead, and we're crawling back. So to me, Jesus is a brother who's touched that beauty, that awesome wonderfulness of divine spirit moving within him. And he talks about the Holy Spirit. In John, we're talking about the Bible now, we could talk about Ramakrishna or Buddha or anything.
I love the Bible. I love it all.
Yeah, I hear you. In John, he talks about, I'm going away. I'm going to send you the Comforter and the Spirit of Truth. The Spirit of Truth. And that's what's moving now, the Spirit of Truth. Really, he mentions it a number of times that the Spirit of Truth will fill you. You'll know more than I know, he told us, in understanding. We ain't sitting around the fireplace now kicking women out of camp because they had their period. We're in a new age of understanding, a new age of looking at the same thing. This new age of understanding and making ourselves better doesn't take anything away from the Bible or from the Quran or from anywhere else. It just adds to it. It's a continuation of the same thing. Become better, become pure in heart. Love is the glue. Those are things that we have to find and move on with. So for me, it cleared up an awful lot because to me, he's a brother. When I was growing up, we used to talk, and I went to confirmation. I was in church. I was Episcopal. And anyway, we were always talking. Then the kids and the parents too, we said, you think Jesus is really the Son of God? That was the question that we had in religion. Was Jesus the Son of God? Was he, the Son of God? All of a sudden, 2000 comes rolling around. I come out of the woods. He became God. And what in the world happened here?
That's another
The Bible didn't change. And it's almost like if you burned all the Bibles in the world, there'd be no more God. Oh, my goodness. He's within us. He's touching us. And this, and Christ told when he came back, he said, what he wanted him to teach is repentance. Told his disciples to teach repentance and forgiveness of sins. And certainly, if you truly repent, you'll find the Holy Spirit.
That repentance is that mindset we were talking about changing. Mm-hmm. So the all the way to the root system of the subconscious that could hear in the mother's womb, the first thought processes, that's the repentance. And when you said you have to get down to the trueness of who you are deep down, mm-hmm. and face that to the pure heart, because underneath that, hearing in the mother's womb, that's where the pure heart is.
All I heard was, I want milk.
Yeah, well, ain't that something? They said, why they cry when they born? They realize something. Yeah. They've been here before or something. I'm like, yeah. I don't know, but I'm sure it was cold.
The brain, the brain itself it's physical, and it's just like an empty sponge when they're born. You know, it's not the soul. It's just it's, I call it the meat brain because it's just flesh and it's going to go, the brain. It's just a receiver, you know. It's like an open sponge, and we fill that sponge with life.
Where's it
And
gonna go? When you say it's gonna go, where's it gonna go?
going to go where the rest of the body, the brain is.
Well, okay. So here's
Well,
where you.
thought is not the brain. Thought is the input to the brain. The brain is like the hard drive.
Well, the actual brain functions the organs in the body.
Yeah,
And then
it
the heart
certainly
has a
does.
brain, and the stomach has a brain, and the frontal lobe for actions. But
Mm.
here's my issue.
Yeah.
This is what I run into with just about everyone
Uh huh.
is about living because I don't know what it's like to be 85. Obviously, I'm not, well, unless I'm 777 trillion, which I think I am. But to live in this plane of existence 85 years and have the faith that you have to come up to the other side of it. And then here's a side note. So I'm gonna put some avenues to the one point. Okay, another avenue is about Christ consciousness and the Messiah. Because when I think about the actual person Jesus and what you said about being a brother, I think that he knew he had a mission, that it was born in him, like it was inspired. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I have a mission. I know and I know that I have the power of God behind me. I know this. It's
Mm-hmm.
a knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And but the reason that I know it is because of what the Messiah that they denied and the whole thing did. So when Buddha and all of them talk about the Bible or Christianity, or they all say the same thing, that if we listen to the principles, we would all do great. We would all love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said about the Quran expanded on it. So my theory about it is about Christ, the Messiah, is that in the spirit world there was a pivot because of a timeline or something with this killing of I said it on my own live, unaliving of an innocent person that was destined to be the one. So what was taught there, because I imagine, this is horrible, dude, this is horrible, but I think about when I went through what I went through, I think about the suffering that a person would be doing on a torture stake with that part in the wrist where the right here
Yeah.
where the nails go, because the people that don't know, they think it was here. It's not. It would He
Yeah.
would have slid right off. It's
Yeah.
here.
Tendon. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the most painful spot. And so then to be what you thinking? What are you actually thinking as a human being doing that? I'm sure there was some pretty upsetness about the people doing that. And then it was finally, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Yeah.
Because they had no idea what it was. The people down there had no idea what it was like to be on that torture stake.
Yeah.
But the people now that go through it, myself included, just tortured on this plane of existence in the flesh and have to overcome it, you think a lot of thoughts, what you was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then in order to change that for true repentance, you have to get to the realization of, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that's the purification of the heart. So it expands even further, because that burn in the heart, when it feels like your flesh is actually like melting because you're burning so bitter, pissy, angry, painful, loss, grief, all of that. And you have to, what they call, transmute that into a peaceful state. You can't not live in meditation. You have to be meditating in order to make that happen. So it's intense. And so that's what I'm thinking about when I think about the Messiah or Christ consciousness, is to be so aware of how painful it is to be in the flesh, feel like you're trapped in it, feel like you can't get out. But the knowledge to know that if we believe in the theory of the Enoch and the fallen angels and what they put these energies into people, the demons, and it's energy systems, it's energy. And when that energy has to be transmuted, you're basically what they're calling is binding the demons. You're binding that from being loosed on the earth, as above, so below. So it's a heaven in the conscious mind, but it also has to be energy in the body because the human body by science is not designed to perish. But if we repent and think, what did the Messiah come here for? It's life and life more abundantly. Then we tell ourselves that. But if we got a teeter totter in there somewhere that says, oh, we're going to perish one day for whatever reason, that we're not designed to live like that, we're defying science. We're going against the Messiah, all of that. Every human has that ability to live for eternity if they believe it. Lack of faith is to me, lack of faith is blasphemy. Blame, according to the root word, is blasphemy. So it's a little bit of all, but lack of faith has been the issue. The more faith, the more believing in love and loving for self. Because why would the Messiah do that for us to just perish anyway? If we don't believe that we're going to live. I'm serious.
Yeah, I hear
I'm
you.
serious.
Yeah, I hear you.
You're laughing, but I'm
No, I'm
talking to
not
you.
laughing.
He said, "Look, you're like, no, I'm not laughing."
No, I'm smiling.
You're laughing. I'm glad you're laughing with me.
No, I'm smiling. No, I'm laughing with you.
It was a chuckle. It was a chuckle. It was a distinct chuckle.
No, well, I got
It
you.
makes me
Yeah.
happy when God's laughing at me. That's my happiest moment.
Oh my goodness! I like I said, I call it divine, and it's so funny. It really is. I mean, it makes you laugh at yourself so much sometimes that you crack your ribs. Uh,
Stop it.
Jesus, yeah,
Yeah,
because of the stupidity we as people do, and then find out it's stupidity and laugh at our own stupidity.
I'm
That's
glad
to
that you're
me.
laughing.
I'm
The
laughing
joy
all
of
the
the
time.
Lord is my strength, and the
But you,
joyful heart is good like a medicine.
I know what you're saying about the crucifixion, except they crucified thousands and thousands.
Yeah, that don't make it right.
No, 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 no. I'm not.
And that
A lot
doesn't
of
make it
people.
like,
A lot of people think that Jesus was the only one who was crucified. That's always, oh, look what he did for us. Thousands and thousands of people were crucified. I mean, the same way. That was
predicted
the
in
way
the
they did it,
Torah, though.
huh?
They weren't in the Torah. They weren't the
In the
one waiting
toilet.
for something. The Torah, the
Well, they weren't
Torah,
in the Torah.
the
No,
Torah.
no, they weren't in the Torah.
No, they weren't the one expected
They
to
were
come.
just out hanging around.
Messiah. They were just being tortured and
Yeah.
tormented by evil
Nobody,
people.
nobody put them in the Torah.
No, just the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One more question. What are your thoughts on hypocrisy?
Well, I'd have to get my dictionary.
That's a great idea. Because
Uh,
I don't know the exact definition either.
well, that's the problem I have. People say we're let me give you an example. I usually do this whenever I talk to people, and that's the word grace.
Oh, I love Grace. I'm learning.
Grace. You look it up in the dictionary, and the meaning that when I say grace, it's unmerited divine assistance.
Mm.
Unmerited divine assistance. And, Amazing Grace, the song. And a lot of people don't know what grace is. It really is the divine touching you. That's what grace is. That's what brings you the elevation when it happens, the beauty of grace itself. Uh, Wonderful
I'm
thing.
learning that,
What
and I'm
question?
learning
Oh,
it's
yeah. What was that word you just asked me?
hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. Yeah. That's like people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right, dude. It's so bad at my work, dude.
That's
I
the old
swear.
saying.
I know. I've heard it. And when I'm at my work, and I think, and I see something like I work with a bunch of young, like teenagers,
Oh,
And I'm
Jesus.
I'm a workhorse. Okay, I am a worker, and I'm like, Tina, you just pick it up. Just so
I'm
slow, just pick it up.
going to look it up here. Hypocrisy. How would you spell that? Do you know?
Hy, I think Hypo.
Oh, you got that smart stuff. I thought I was thinking HI. I'm
That's a hipster. That's
spelling is not good for me.
we're going back to hippie days with that one.
Ah, boy, hippie day. We had a lot of fun.
I
You
love
know,
hippie.
and my goodness, there was such a beautiful spirit flowing. There was free love too. I never worked for. I never got any of that.
Two words diverge in a hollow wood, and I took the path less traveled by, and that has made the difference. That was my hippie statement my aunt taught me. She said, "You want to be a hippie? Remember this."
HYP.
Hip, yeah, Poc.
Ah, we're getting
All
close.
right.
Ah, POs. Yeah, it'd be C, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Oh, what such big words, aren't they? Oh, it's near hypocrite. We're getting close.
Yeah, that's good. That's the root word of it, probably.
Oh, hypnotic. Hippocrast. Crit. See, I wish I had my little dictionary with me. I read by the dictionary because I like to, Kiss.
Yeah, the band.
No, keep it simple, stupid.
Oh,
Kiss.
the band.
Yeah, there's a band Kiss too, but I always like keep it simple, stupid. So when I look up, it's like I would tell you a little quick story. When I hear people talking about the id and the ego and the super ego and all this kind of shit, I say, why are you talking like you're Freud? That's what Freud thought how the mind worked, and that was his theory. And so now when they say the id has no meaning to me, you think you can go into the thought and things. Uh, Ego is the I consciousness. All you care about is yourself, and uh,
That may be
a hypocrite would be someone like who says something and does something else. Right? Is that what you're saying?
probably, but I
Yeah.
just typed it in the chat because I don't even really know the exact definition of
See,
it.
you shouldn't use words you don't know the meanings to.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said hypocrite. I said it's sort of saying one thing and then doing something else.
Yeah, I never read it in the dictionary, but that's how
Bring it up. Come on, tell us the truth.
I can't. I tried to do it on here, but okay, wait. Let me see if I can. If can you? Okay, it says comments. I filter. How do I make a comment?
I don't know.
All right, let's see. Because you
She's,
can look it up like this: hypocrisy. But I asked you what you thought about that, and you said you have to.
I said, give me the meaning.
All right, let me look it up. The proper meaning.
I'm going to get my phone up.
Practice. Can you hear me? The practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Aren't we all?
Yeah, that just became the word that came up to me a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we all do that.
Yeah, and I was thinking that's part of duality. Like
Yeah.
that's part of cleaning out, getting that pure heart that you was talking about with the
Yeah.
ego, the
It's,
I.
yeah, it's something we should avoid doing. The best thing for most of us to do is just shut up and not say anything. We'd be in
I
better
totally
shape.
agree with that, dude. I totally agree with that. Totally. I said there was a point in time I prayed. I was like, Lord, just shut me up, And there was a time when I was quiet for 3 years, and He told me the same thing. Do exactly what I'm doing right now.
What's that?
Talk
Oh,
about it.
but don't be using them words you don't know the meaning to.
Talk about it. I didn't. I just never read it in the dictionary.
No, I know. Yeah. Well, when two people, a lot of times that's when confusion comes in conversation
Mhm.
because some person says a certain thing and it means a different thing to someone else. And sometimes, you get angry about things that there shouldn't be and misunderstandings. Language is really a poor way of communicating. It's the best thing we have, but it's very, very difficult sometimes to really understand. It's like if the Spirit moves inside you and fills you with glorious things, putting them into words is almost an impossibility.
Yeah, I
You
really
know,
do
you
love
can
how.
phrase it, oh, beauty and oh, it's glorious and wonderful, but actually the feelings that were emanated within you, to put them into words is difficult.
Yeah, unless you have a pure heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then
Well,
it resonates.
yeah. That's always to me. No offense to anybody else or to the Bible or anything, but to become pure in heart, and we reap what we sow, and we are spirit. Pretty much says it all.
Yeah, I love that. I know because I've read the Bible. I've read a lot of literature. Okay, but I have read the Bible a lot. But I narrow it down to the scripture. God is love. That's a scripture. God
Hmm.
is love. And the and then the other part is I say you want to read the Bible all in 1 minute. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole soul, your whole strength.
Yeah,
Love your neighbor as yourself.
love
That's
the Father.
yeah, the creator.
Yeah, the
Our
Father,
creator. Yeah.
our Father.
Our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm really glad to have people say you'll be grateful for all the people that did you wrong one day. You'll be grateful for all of this other stuff. I have a very hard time with that, but I am very glad that I was able to transmute it and to heal from it and find peace within it. And I realize that praying for their souls is probably part of the mission because when somebody does something so mean to somebody else, they're in a lot of pain and they're
Yeah, yeah,
so that's what I learned and that I don't regret.
yeah.
Like, if I can be the strong one to pray them through it and be there on the other side of it, it's whenever you think you're going to lose yourself to the bitterness and the anger and the hate and the from get to the point where you get the pivot. Once the pivot happens and you get the repentance, then you're better. But it's
Is it
looking at
pivot?
self's
Is it
part.
is it pivot like aha?
What's aha?
Aha.
Aha, an aha moment, yeah, for sure.
Aha.
Except it takes a lot longer and it's a lot more like focused,
A
and
lot of ahas to pivot, huh?
a lot of ahas to create a pivot.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
hear that.
yeah,
I
you
hear
got
that. Oh
gotta get
my.
fresh water. I had watered down, I don't know, something I was drinking. Not alcohol though.
How
I'm on sabbatical.
are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got hit by an 18-wheeler 3 times. And
All at once, or did he come back for you?
it was something, dude. Let me tell you this. I hit a street sign. You know them big ones that tell you how many days you're gonna be the road's gonna be closed and big ones?
Yeah.
I went to pull off and read my GPS and I hit it going 70. And
Oh no.
so, yes, and we figured the recoil was about 40. And when it recoiled me back, he hit me first time, so that was 110. So I got a 70 miles per hour hit, a 110 hit, then he flew me up, and dude, I was in the car. I said, how am I ever going to tell people how this was? Because I was awake for it. And I saw a scene from Mission Impossible, and it was in slow motion, and the glass was flying. I'm like, that's it. If you see that scene, that's how I describe it. But as soon as I knew I was about to hit that sign, I said, please, Lord, let everybody be all right. And when he hit me, I flew up and I felt myself going up, and I was like, oh God, how many cars? So I'm counting the hits. I came back down. The third hit, I must have blacked out. And that was the last hit that he pinned me up against the guardrail. And people say, how you feel? I'm like I got hit by a Mack truck. Like many people can't really say that and mean it. So if somebody says, oh, well, I got hit by a Mack truck before, I'm like, twice? And if they
You have
say
cam
no,
on your head, CAM on your head.
dude, I had glass in
Yeah.
my head. It felt like indoor outdoor carpet. You know how
Was it slow motion?
it was like slow motion.
That's what combat's like for me.
Really?
Combat, yeah.
Okay.
I was a gunner. We've had a 9-man crew, two gunners, a pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier. Yeah, we had 9 people, and I was a gunner, and it was that way. It seems like when you get in those situations, your body doesn't accept the fear. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
That your body automatically overcome. They call it shock sometimes, but your body doesn't accept what's happening to you until it's like over, and then you understand maybe what happened to you. I found combat was like when we were going in and doing what we were doing. Um, it was like I was in a movie theater and I was watching this slow motion movie, but I wasn't there. I was just watching it. It's sort of what like a car wreck is that way almost in a way. You go, everything slows down and your body just or your mind or whatever doesn't accept the reality of what's happening to you. So it protects you from real fear. Does that make sense? From
Yes.
real fear. It
Yes.
protects you from that.
Yep. The adrenaline. So this is
Yeah.
part of what helped
Well,
me.
does that make the adrenaline, or does the adrenaline make it?
I think
I know we're chemical,
both.
but I think the
Yeah.
thought makes the chemical versus the chemical making the thought.
Yes.
By
Okay.
changing the
So
chemical, you change the thought, but the thought is the creator of the chemical within that does the stuff.
it has to be because it has to be. That's my theory too. Okay. So after coming out of it, there was a big billboard of all the stuff. Like I went through all that. I'm coming out of my healing and I'm driving to work. Okay. But little things would show up to help me continue to heal and encourage me. And one of a billboard on the way to work said it had a war veteran and it had don't quote it's not going to be quoted. I wish I could because it was so beautifully said, but it said something to the effect of when they are in war it's one thing, but when they come out of war that's when the real struggle begins or the war begins, because all of what you just said with the adrenaline and all of that comes down from the actual moment where you're just doing the fight or flight and you're fighting because you got to, you know, and then you come out of it and that's when the PTSD, that's why these war veterans have all this stuff, because after the fact then they have to sit with that, what all happened there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not a big psychologist guy.
but you know what it was like.
Well, yeah, I know too a lot of things that when sometimes we have to face things, we see things, and we have to move on. I mean, that's things that happen to us just were or just are. Uh, there's no right or wrong. There just is. And you have to move on from that. There's guys still in Vietnam. I can't believe it. They've been there 50 years. They're in their mind, they cannot escape it because of something they've seen. And I understand that. And I don't, in if I was to go outside tonight and fart twice in the wind, some psychologist would put a name on it. They've got
Twice
all this
farter.
shit. You know,
Or one of the twice farter.
I wrote a poem
In
about
the wind.
psychology. I majored in psychology for a little while, uh, and it's it takes away personal responsibility by justifying what's wrong with you. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you? Uh, it, it it well, oh, you've had such trauma and things, and I understand that, but you got to dump that shit from behind you. You got to live now. You got to move on. You can't hang on to crap. You can still be in crap, but you don't have to be crap here. You can be free here. You can be in prison and be free here. And I had guys that said, "Hey, you were in Vietnam, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah." And they say, "Hey, well, you go, just tell them you got this and tell them you got that. They'll give you." There's guys getting $3,000, $4,000 a damn month tax free right now because of PTSD.
Man.
Because they say, "Oh, I'm fucked up. I couldn't handle it. I give me money," and a lot of them are getting it. And I know the trauma is not good and it's difficult, but you got to get by it. You have to get by it for your own welfare. Yeah, there's things you see that are not nice. I go out and I shoot a deer and then I got to go cut his throat. I feel bad about that. It's not, it's not pretty.
You gotta skin it.
Yeah, and when I catch a fish and I get the hook is down his bladder and I pull it all out. It's not pretty. And if I could make money out of it, if people could make money out of that trauma, they'd be doing it. They'd call it fishitis or
Excellent.
deerocrosis.
Look,
Or
you
so,
heard
oh,
me?
he's got deerocrosis, so let's pay him some money. We'll fix you. We'll send you to rehab. We have to take personal responsibility sometimes for the things that we're doing and the things that we hold in when we should let go. It's just so destructive to live when you're living in the past and these things are in you, you're missing what's before you. I feel the divine every day puts things before me that I need to learn. Of course, I don't learn a lot because I hide and I'm lazy.
I believe in you, Forerunner. The twice
But
partner. That's between us.
I try not to chase life. And what I mean by that is that I just try not to. I'm not gonna be sitting here and say, "Boy, I could call Jack, maybe go over and see him," and then I'd say, "Whoop, I'll be chasing life. Let life come to me
Like that.
in a way.
I really like
Do
that.
the things every day that I have to do. I have a lot of things I've got to do, but I'm not going to run around seeking life, seeking. It will unfold before you. It will unfold before you if you live now. We talk about time. The only time there is now. And now is always present. It's the only time there is. When you live life after life, a continuation of life, it will be now then. It will be now then. So the only time is now. There is no future. There's just now. There is no past. There's just this second. Right now is the only thing there is. You and I are here. This is the moment is now. And when I go out and have my coffee and take a leak after we get done, that'll be now then. Sometimes I'll be watching TV and I'll be thinking and say, "You asshole. You're not living now. You're not living with the lessons before you." So I start watching TV and I learn something. So
You must have
but you know
Netflix
what I mean. Uh,
or
just
YouTube. You must have YouTube University.
I tell you what, this media shit drives me crazy. I can't do anything. I just the only reason I tell people this is the truth. The only reason I'm on TikTok because they don't ask me for my password again.
I love that. I just realized that when you said that.
If they
You,
ask me for my ass and password, I'm gone. You'll never see me again. I'm gone forever.
oh, I knew I liked you for some other reason besides mentioning birds and all these other things. That's
I go
awesome.
places. I tried this. I tried different places. And I'm saying YouTube and all these places. No, it doesn't work for me.
No, I agree with you. My YouTube don't ask me for that every time. I like
Uh,
YouTube too. Yeah.
I don't know. It's beyond me. I need a 6-year-old kid come in and help me with my
For
iPhone.
real. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I'm really media stupid on this stuff.
Say that too.
I grew up in radio. I saw television come in, and when television come in, we'd all on Friday night we'd all run down. We'd go down to town, little town I lived in Enfield, Connecticut, and the TV store there would have a little TV, black and white TV, and there'd be like 10, 15 people standing out front watching that TV. And you know what they'd say? How in the world did they get them pictures through the air?
Oh my gosh.
How'd they do that?
Wow. I I wonder what I would have said too. What did
That's
you
the,
think?
how'd they get them pictures through the air?
I love it. True. A little
That's what
TV.
everyone thought. It was like a miracle. It was a miracle, you know. I
What
mean,
was
we
the
had
first
radio,
shows? What was the
huh?
first? What was the first shows that came on?
Gee whiz, there was one called Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. I was a kid, you know, when I was like 11 years old when we got our first 11 or 12. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie was on. Mickey Mouse Club come on relatively early.
Okay.
Uh, there was some theater, there was Friday night boxing. You know, TV was done at 9 o'clock at night. TV was over.
Oh wow.
They would put a test pattern on there. It'd be there till 6 o'clock the next morning.
Wow.
So they would just broadcast like up till 9 o'clock. Uh, let's see. Amos and Andy was on. The Great Gildersleeve, Lone Ranger. A lot of those things were on. Uh, and then they come back on like at 6 in the morning. Then eventually they started getting the late show, and then the late show, and then the late show, and then the early show, and eventually it got where after a number of years, it was 24 hour.
And then Johnny Carson. You said the
Johnny
late late
Carson was,
show.
yeah, he come along a
Yeah,
little later.
I love him.
Yeah, I remember beginning rock and roll. That was an exciting time. I was a freshman in high school, and a couple of kids came and said, "Man, you got to see this movie." It said the music in it, and we went to a place called the Strand Theater. I think it was 10 cents to get in, and we went to see this movie. I think the name. I think it was Blackboard Jungle, and the song and the band was Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock. A
Okay.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock.
Rock.
5,
5,
6,
6,
7
7
o'clock,
o'clock,
8 o'clock,
8 o'clock,
rock.
rock.
Gonna
9,
rock
10, 11
around
o'clock,
the
12
clock
o'clock, rock.
tonight
We're gonna
while the
rock.
clock strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like the first rock and roll song that I ever heard. You know, I mean, this is way before Elvis.
Yeah.
And the Coasters come along. They were great. Coasters were great. The Platters and all them started, you know, Everly Brothers. And rock and roll started coming in then. And used to have dances probably on the weekend. You know, and parents heard this rock and roll. They said it's evil, and it was devil. And anyone the kids that listen to this music, they call us devil worshippers. I mean, that's true. They really, you know, this music is from the devil. And then when Elvis come along and shook his ass a little bit, oh my goodness gracious, you know, this was so sinful.
Brought it down.
Oh, sinful. You know, I never heard a woman curse until probably I was 20 years old.
Oh wow.
Never heard it. First time I heard a woman say F, I like to died. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it would come out of a woman's mouth.
Wow.
Just because, you know, we live in a different time.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that the nasty stuff that goes on now, abuse and things like that wasn't happening. It was all behind closed doors. Nobody knew about it then. But you know, it was just another world. You know, I remember soldiers coming back from World War II from Japan, the Pacific. I was in California at the time.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is just incredible. That's like when I think about adrenaline from all that, I know that that other side is there too. But when I was jumping out of a plane with my sons, inside the plane before the jump, that's where the adrenaline was. Just getting ready to go. That's how I imagine coming back from all of that. Like the people there, the hats flying, flags, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Of course, I was just a kid. When it ended, I was only 5. But my sister was older. She married one of the guys, come back from Guam,
Oh, right on.
and married him.
So he
Yeah.
was an Air Force guy, huh?
No, he was Army.
Oh, okay.
Army. They had troops there everywhere. He was Army. He's from North Carolina, and uh,
You got that Kentucky accent. I just heard it big time. I was wondering about where you was from, but I did not would have not guessed Kentucky. So where I live, we have Whistling Straits. You ever heard of it?
ah,
It's the biggest golf tournament, like one of the biggest in the nation. They have it here. This big golf place where I live. And
yeah,
this little guy come up here. I used to work at a restaurant in downtown, and they summer it gets popping with that Whistling Straits thing. And boy, I'll be guessing all their accents because people come from everywhere. Kentucky was one of the hardest accents that I could. It took me to guess, but when I heard it, it wasn't no mistaking it. Whenever people would come in there, I'm like Kentucky,
Yeah,
Kentucky.
Eastern Kentucky, real hard, and I don't have the Kentucky accent. We get a little twang now and then, maybe,
You do got a little twang.
but they're yeah, it's unique in its own way. Yeah, yeah, I moved into a small town, nice people, and old country people, and good people. And now we've become more modernized here. It was all mostly farms when I moved here. Tobacco and cattle was mostly everything.
Tobacco. Is Kentucky one of the biggest tobacco farm places in America, though?
Yeah, produce a lot of tobacco here.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
they still do tobacco here a lot.
that. I did not know that
Yeah, oh yeah.
today. I drove through Kentucky once.
Did you?
Yep. I was leaving Michigan because I went to see my son over there. And I was so excited to drive through Kentucky because I always knew how beautiful it was in movies. And it was just one of those states that I said, I just want to go there so I can see it and
Yeah,
how green it is. And it was pretty. It was
yeah.
really pretty. That's why I
Next
asked you
week.
about Connecticut because Connecticut's beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful. New England is beautiful. Yeah, too many people. I mean, there's a lot of people up there, but well, actually, there's a lot of open ground too everywhere you go. You know,
What
but
for
yeah, good people in Connecticut.
have a
I like
Woodstock?
Connecticut.
We're gonna have a Woodstock in Connecticut then.
Oh, it'd be nice to have a great gathering, wouldn't it?
I've been telling everybody that that's
Yeah.
what you said you're gonna do. So
No,
you
I
won't
didn't.
call
I
me
didn't.
twice
No,
for
I
it.
said it'd be a good thing to do.
I won't call you twice for it nowhere else, okay?
Yeah.
That was so funny if I fart twice in the wind.
Well, no,
You.
no offense. If you understand what I'm saying, though, they put a label on everything, and when they put labels on it, they justify the actions. And instead of justifying the actions, let's remove those actions. You
They
know,
don't
someone who's in love with themselves and a narcissist and all this bullshit or whatever. Let's teach them not to care about others. Let's teach them the things that they should be learning. Not say, okay, he's this, and let's pack his ass with some pills. And they just label everything. And like I said, an alcoholic is no longer a drunk, but somebody who is sick. And I understand that concept. But goddamn, you're bending your arm. You're bending your arm. I was an arm bender for a lot of years. I drank a lot of hooch, man. Uh, for 20 years, I downed a lot of hooch.
I
I
love it.
crawl the gutters of the earth. Wine, women, and song. And uh, I was a drunk. Uh,
That's well in psychology.
well, I had a problem.
That's the repercussion of going through trauma that you have a hard time processing.
Yeah, it's a problem. Is this?
I like it because it doesn't
And
let me
booze is good. I mean, it makes
I
you
love
feel
it.
good.
It doesn't let me feel the pain to the depths.
Yeah,
So
until about midnight. It starts off a couple of drinks make you feel good, and by midnight booze, alcohol is a
yes,
depressant.
it's
It's
the
a
best drug.
depressant.
Yes.
It seems like it's a stimulant. I was an alcohol counselor for a couple of years too in the Navy, and you know what they taught us? That it's a problem. Alcohol's a problem if it makes problems in your life.
Mhm.
There's people that do a case a day and never have a problem in their lives. They're not. They're just good people who go to sleep early.
Really, really. And they're affecting their body. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't need to do it now, but I did it for like I'm nobody's going to control me if I'm going to do that. And then I would mix my little. I'm a mixologist.
Well, one of my favorite jobs was bartending. I bartended for a couple of years. I love bartending. Two for them, one for me.
Love it. I never okay, so I never got the luxury, but I did. I bartended a little bit, but not like I wanted to. In Louisiana, dude, they wouldn't let you drink behind the bar. You could work,
Ah,
but you couldn't drink. Up here, everybody drinks behind the bar. I was like, I wanted a job bartending so I wouldn't drink because they don't allow it.
Yeah.
I get here and they're like, oh no, you can drink behind the bar. I'm like, well, I'm just going to go be a food runner or something then. I'm going to work as a dietary technician because I'll be drunk. I know me.
You know, too bad people, too bad we couldn't talk to people we know and friends and family like we do to strangers. You know, sometimes or, you know, as a bartender, if you bartend a little while, you sit there with somebody with a glass of beer, and they'll tell you every problem in their entire life, and they won't go home and tell their family. They won't tell the people that the problems are with. It's too bad we just couldn't, you know, talk to people like they're strangers, because sometimes we can say an awful lot of things from our heart to someone that we maybe just met, other than someone that we should be saying it to.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree with that. It's
yeah.
very sad that people don't know how to receive love. They're so wounded they can't receive love. It's difficult.
Well, you got to give it to get it back sometimes.
You got to know what it is to give it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was the saddest thing that happened. That's just, I call it the Green Mile theory. When I talk and you hear me talk ever, it's about one of the theories is the Green Mile theory. That in the Green Mile he used the sisters' love against each other to keep them from screaming out for help. And so that's became the Green Mile theory. Whenever you don't know what love is and you don't know how to give it because you don't know how to receive it because you don't know what it is. You think you do, like you
Yeah.
intellectualize it, but you don't feel it in your heart. And that was one of the saddest things that happened with my children. Like they dearly love me and I dearly love them, but my mindset was so I needed to heal my childhood, but I'd never had time to heal my childhood because I had started having kids. I had to raise children, so I had to shelf all that shit. I couldn't deal with it. And then one day it was like a volcano with enough triggers from major shit that went on in my life. I had to stop and deal with it. And that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years is healing from all of those things
Yeah.
that happened. And I realized then because I could beat myself up and call myself selfish and whatever, but I did what I thought was best for my children in every given moment, and I trusted I trust my children with God. I trust God with my children. So there were times it didn't feel like that it wasn't looking the way I thought it should look, and I trust God with my children, and I really went toe to toe with God about that, the Creator, and I had to accept that there's a much bigger plan than I can imagine in my little what I've been going through. You know, I get that it was major. I get it was a lot. But my children, I raised them to have their own relationship with God. So they have their own mission and what they're doing here. And that's when I had to realize more expansion in honoring that and honoring what they're here to do and what they're here to create for the greater good of humanity because they got the goods and they're doing it. So it's good. It's just tough.
I'm really you know, I'm really excited about the youth of today. I really am. I see a lot of compassion, a lot of love, a lot of feeling, a lot of caring, and a lot of these, you know, they're screwed up because they're teenagers and it's a hard time. Like, you know, I mean, it really is a hard time because there's so many things. You've got these physical juices flowing that are directing you a lot of times. Sometimes they direct you all the way to the grave. But
Good.
you got a lot of things going on and it gets confusing. It's a hard time to get through. But I've seen such beautiful, beautiful, divine children growing up. You know, it's like looking in when I look in the eyes of baby, I see the divine.
Oh yeah.
It's right there.
That's what I say. If
Yeah,
you want to know there's a God, look at a baby.
yeah. And then when they get about 5 or 6, then we start teaching them, and they get that I conscious. I want, and then off goes that empty sponge into a world
Their own beliefs.
of learning, hopefully, of world of learning. You know, all these things that we go through, whether it be PSD or war or pain, suffering, are really all deep lessons for us. And if we can understand, that's what I'm talking about, letting go of them. Before you let go of them, you got to understand them. And if you come to that understanding that most of the things that happen to you are because of you, and when you're negative, that your life is going to be miserable. You can't change that. If you start getting rid of things like anger, and just when you start getting angry, just say, why are you angry? If you can just come to that concept and understand the only reason you're angry because what, somebody pissed you off, somebody didn't agree with you, somebody thought different than you, so you're pissed off at them. It just destroys you. It had nothing to do with them. It destroys you. And once we start making those little changes, all of a sudden our life starts getting a little better. And the more changes we make, it's like, I call it instant karma. And what I mean by that, we have this aura, we call it an aura. We have this vibration around us that we put out. And and it affects all our relationships. We either attract or repel sometimes from different people. And as we remove things, our vibration changes. And as we do, it changes everything around us in a way. It touches different things than it does when you're angry. If you're angry, number one, you can't see. I mean, you're blinded by anger. It's so destructive, and so really it tears you apart. It's really it's like fear. But of course, there's time to be fearful, I guess.
Yeah.
I shit my pants a few times. I mean, I know that.
Forerunner the twice fart. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so I said shit. Forerunner the twice fart. You better watch out with that twice fart.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing, what you said is anger is the emotion for injustice. So,
Did
and
I
what?
say that?
No, I'm
Oh,
saying
you said that.
to that. Yeah. So anger is the emotion for injustice. So when people come out of some kind of unjust situation, because whenever I realized that my track I was on in my head, that I kept going back to different spots in my childhood that were coming up for healing. So it was like
Mhm,
contraction after contraction after
mhm,
contraction.
mhm.
I would think I would have a good moment of time, and then I would think about something and then realize nobody stood up for me. No, my parents weren't, like, it would trickle a whole nother. Then I would go into what I thought about my daddy. Then I would go into what I thought about my mom. And I was like, oh my God. But that wave stayed for so long, what you just said. And then that's the part in having to realize that you're the it's me. Okay, it's me. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was me, because I it's always been me. And then you can get pissy to the other side. It's always me.
Yeah.
It's always me. But it's finding that balance when those things are unfolding, because going back to those things have to be cleared. But it's learning, because all of this is like pieces parted everywhere. It's learning the tools that it takes to retrain those feelings, those thought processes that cause the feelings that are from the trauma. So it's like all of these little pockets everywhere coming up. And when people are running around angry, there's something deep down, all the way to that root system of the subconscious that we talked about, that needs repentance. And repentance means changing your thoughts. So it's not necessarily that they did something wrong. It's just that they need to change their thought process about whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Empirically studied.
I'd say so. Yeah, that's great. I there seems to be something that can touch us, that can guide us, uh, whether external or internal. Uh, some I read once that we are light, and that this whole earth is surrounded by millions and millions and millions of souls, sort of trying to help us. And every now and then, when we become like selfless, our light gets a little brighter, and they swoop down because of our we've opened something in us, and they try to guide us. I think we can make a connection with what we call the self, or we call it divine. I call it divine for me, because there was a time when I sort of thought I knew something, and uh, uh, I was driven to my knees. Let's just say that, to understand that I'm here to learn, and I'm here to grow, and I'm here to understand myself and understand what's before me. It's like I try to become, difficult sometimes. I try to become just the eyes with no body and just see what's before me always, looking, listening, and learning. And I'm pretty poor at it, but I try
Right.
to look, listen, and learn. And when I do that, when I do look at what's going before me, and I look and I listen, and I learn. And what I learn is more about myself, because we truly, within us, no matter what kind of trauma, no matter what kind of life we go through, the same as far as feelings. And what I mean by that, when I love and feel love, it's the same thing that you feel. When I feel anger, it's the same feeling. Doesn't mean it's to degrees, or but it's exact same thing. So that's the commonness among us. You know, whether you're Chinese, or whether you're born in India or South America or United States or anywhere, when you feel sorrow and I feel sorrow, it's the same exact thing within us. So that's the common bonding of of this entity, this soul, whatever you want to call it. But we have these feelings that are oneness together. And you can't put words on feelings. You can't explain love. You can't explain fear. You know what happens from it. But love that I feel, it's that same thing. It's like the fear. When you feel fear, and I feel fear, same feeling, same thing. Maybe different purposes, different reasons, or maybe you shouldn't be fearing, or maybe I should, and maybe it's irrelevant. But the feeling itself is the same. And that's the oneness of us. That's the I am within us, is that feeling, that learning of the feeling. And when you learn about things like love and compassion, self righteousness, uh, bigotry, hypocrisy, and understand them, and choose to try to remove those things from you that don't increase your caring, your kindness. I don't want everyone. I don't want anybody to love me. I'm happy just like me. If you like me, I'm happy as a clam. I don't love everybody, but I like a lot of people. Uh, I don't even know what the hell love is. You tell me, and then I'll know. It's an affectionate feeling. You look up in the dictionary, don't tell you much because it can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
So
what you mean.
I like. Somebody said, "Well, you wouldn't want everybody to love you." I don't give a shit about love. Just like me a little bit. That's all. I'll be a happy camper. We get along and we like each other, and enjoy each other and grow together. I mean, that's what it's about. So.
I totally like that you said that like that because I was thinking just the opposite. I
Well,
love
there always is
everybody,
the
but I don't
opposite.
like
That's what's funny.
everybody.
There always is the opposite. The
It's funny.
duality.
I love it. Oh my God, that's funny. All right. So, is there anything else? We cover some territory tonight.
Oh, did we? I don't know. I've
Oh
just enjoyed our
no.
talk.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Um, well, I feel good about it. Do you?
Yeah, I feel good. If I had a message to give, uh, I would say that, there is something real within each of us that doesn't lead us, but that feeds us. And we can call it a lot of things. I call it sometimes the spirit of truth. And that truth, when it awakens us, brings us into internal joy. And sometimes we call it revelations. I call what happened to me a revelation because it was a rebirth for me. I became a new man. And, but that is there for all of us. It's right here. In any second, all you have to do is open your mind, listen, and desire. Want to know, want to serve. We're all here to serve each other. That's our purpose, every one of us. That is our main purpose, to serve others. And as we serve others, we serve ourselves more. We bring more joy and feeling and love to ourselves by giving to others. I mean, that's that instant karma thing. You know, when it's a vibrational thing, it's just automatic. You know, karma's not something you wait for down the road. Karma happens to us every day. And there are people living in hell right now within themselves.
Oh yeah.
Terrible hells.
Yeah.
And there are those who are living in heaven.
Mhm.
But there is something we can touch. Want it, desire it. It seems to really be moving, and it's trying to awake us for whatever may come. Whatever may come. I had a message I call it a message, you know, about a month ago that was sort of to me, but it was to me about now and what's going on. So, would you want to hear it before we go?
You know
We're
I
getting
do.
ready to close it down here in a little
No,
bit.
I do want to hear it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'll see if I can find it.
All right.
I might, yeah, yeah. This was to me, for me, in I think meditation. The coming year 2025 will be a time of great events, change. Whenever it says whenever, not if it does it, whenever, meaning it will happen. Whenever it comes to you in life, be it desolation, be it pain, be it sorrow, difficult ending, remember, many have gone before you. The path to understanding and truth is shielded by darkness. Grasp that silver thread of light. Within, have courage. Be fearless. Be steadfast on your journey. Become a sword of light piercing into darkness. Pick up your cross. Become the I am you are. So I sort of like that.
I love it, but I would love.
You were looking at the other side.
I was looking at this. This.
What's
This.
that, rat?
This rat was climbing up on me while you was reading that.
Oh, my goodness.
That's my grand rat.
Ah, was he
Would you?
listening?
I think she was, but are you willing to read it again?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're awesome. Thank you.
Oh, I think I've got it backwards. Wait a minute. You gotta watch me.
Welcome nicely to this.
Huh?
This dog, this big giant rat. She is a rat terrier. No, she's a
Oh,
bull.
is he?
She's a bull terrier. I'm sorry, she's a bull terrier. Sorry,
Ah.
my aunt had a rat terrier. I got them confused. But she's a Houdini. I know that.
Oh my goodness, that's one there. That's a good one.
She likes to get out, like you talking about, and run though, and it's difficult where we live. So I like to
Yeah.
take her to the river at night.
Yeah. I'm just be a second.
You good? I appreciate you being willing to do it again.
Uh,
I know
I
it
thought
went to my subconscious, but I want to focus on it.
I have a lot of things that I do in reverse.
I do. Hey, backwards was my
I heard a
word.
lot of things in reverse.
Yep, I heard
Okay.
that.
All right. The coming year, time of events change. Okay. Whenever it comes to you in life, be it desolation, be it pain, be it sorrow, difficult ending, remember, many have gone before you. The path to understanding and truth is shielded by darkness. Grasp that silver thread of light. Within, have courage. Be fearless. Be steadfast on your journey. Become a sword of light, piercing into darkness. Pick up your cross. Become the I am you are. That's it.
That's my
Anyway,
word. That is fabulous. And guess what? We
what?
have it. We have it on the edit. So we have it on replay.
I don't know anything about any of that stuff.
I learned it, but we got it. We captured it. So that's going to reach many people that tune in.
Oh,
Yep. That's going to be definitely the edit. One of the edits for sure.
boy, edit.
Because a lot of people are going through, yeah, clip from
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
a lot of people are going through what you just said and need that. That is a straight message. You got that message you said for yourself, like it came up to you and you wrote it the other day.
Yeah, that was a
That's what
couple
I
of weeks
thought you
ago.
said.
But then I thought, wow, it sort of pertains to everybody, which, they always do.
Oh,
It
it
always,
definitely does.
it always do. There's one other little thing. It's called To You Who Know. I'm a, I'm a, are you a procrastinator?
Oh yeah, I listen to procrastination subliminals whenever I get to them.
Oh God, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I am so terrible. I don't even know what to say. But this is one. Oh, I don't know. It's too long. Don't worry about it. I think it's too long.
No. Unless you just don't feel like it, but I would love
Well, let me
it.
say.
Okay, good.
Let me put a. That's a reverser. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
not real clear, but I can see it.
Well, I'll read it.
Okay.
Do you
Perfect.
think there is an awakening beginning? We are
Yeah.
moving into a new age with many open minded, seeking souls. We, having been awakened to light by grace, unmerited divine assistance, need to rush towards the sword of truth. Time to bring the awakening to more. Time to attempt to bring our mutual gifts of enlightenment to others. Lessons we learn should be spread now in this new time of worldwide communication. Time to bring forth by sincere kindness, caring, compassion, as the Holy Spirit, your word, has given us. The glue of progression is love. All entities reap what they sow through thought. We have been brought to the light to bring the light of spirit to others. Science and the sublime are uniting. Perpetual motion is life, existence, movement in all, in the order of all. We are a vibration within a level of electromagnetic pulse, a cosmic frequency in change. We all seek balance, harmony for contentment and fulfillment. The world can be awakened and understand the lessons within. The spirit of truth knocks. The teacher is within each waiting. We are here to serve because we can.
Nice. That is
Yeah, I
beautiful.
dabble around with that shit all the time.
Dude, you got the channels happening. They call it channeling. I don't, but I understand it. Like it's coming, the spirit's coming through you for sure.
Well, you know, it, yeah. Uh, Yeah, we need to become a vessel and stop worrying about the I and worrying about the us. Uh, uh, and we need to stay humble because many times when the Spirit moves, it's so awesome, so awe inspiring within us that we start to think that maybe we're special or we're knowledgeable, and 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 that's a thing that sometimes happen. You know, when that spirit moves within you, you're filled with a lot of power and understanding that can be used for yourself. I mean, you can maneuver people, you can generate people because you have that inner insight, and you can take that and use it in a lot of different directions. Um, but it's there for all, and humbleness is part of it. When you sometimes you meet so many people that are so well. I understand. I love myself. Uh, it reminds me of an old poem when I was a kid. I love myself. I think I'm grand. I go to the movie and hold my hand. And when I get fresh, I slap my face. Wrong poem. I love my no, I do it again. I love myself. I think I'm grand. I go to the movie and hold my hand. I put my arm around my waist, and when I get fresh, I slap my face. Anyway, we used to say that as kids. But sometimes we start thinking we're special. We think other people are ignorant and we know things, and we start banging religions and churches and different philosophies and things, different rabbit holes. Uh, they all lead to the awakening within us, with the touching of self, with the understanding of who we are within us. Uh, if we know a little bit about ourselves, just a spark of understanding uh, is like a revelation to us of everything. I mean, it's like, oh, and it's just a little spark of understanding. So I learned, for me, 50 years ago, that everything I thought I knew, I didn't know, because there's always the other side. The beginning of understanding is to understand that we're ignorant. We need to open our mind open mindedly and listen and learn. And things that we see are not right or wrong, they just are. They exist. It just is. Someone's not an asshole, they're just an asshole.
I totally understand.
A friend of mine in Florida taught me two things. And he was talking to me about it. He said, even a blind squirrel gets a nut now and then. I said, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's a nice parable. He said, another great parable? I said, what? He said, you can't fix stupid.
I love that word too. I just thought about that today because somebody at work said stupid, and I was like, I shouldn't say I love that word so much because that
Yeah.
probably keeps stupid around. What you think about
Yeah.
Rose?
As long as we don't get judgmental and believe it, because within everybody is that spark of divinity. They are really, truly our brothers and sisters, and man and woman. I know we have a lot of different stuff going on, but within us, we're the same. We're in different bodies, so our lives are different. The things we learn are different. The things we carry on in this physical body are different. But within us, love is love, anger is anger, uh, compassion is compassion, and sincerity is sincerity. So,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
That brings me to another scripture is do not think too much of yourselves. I love that one.
I
So
just enjoy having fun. You know what I mean?
me too.
I
I'm
mean,
about the fun.
I'm just I'm
I'm
having
about the
fun.
fun. Yep.
Uh,
So Vicky, all I need is love said thanks. I saw that, and then I